When somebody like Senator Warren says Bitcoin is bad for the environment, you actually flip it and you say, by mining more Bitcoin, they actually want to increase mining. It's better for the environment, because if we're pushing people to offset via green Bitcoin mining, you can actually offset via mining, which will lead to infrastructure and build out of more renewable energy sources.
Right.
You don't have to have a response to that. You might do, but the idea that Bitcoin mining is actually environmentally friendly. It can be, with gas flaring and supporting the infrastructure for greener energy. It's just like this whole unintended consequence that's come out of mining. And for us, it's like, shit, this thing just keeps getting bigger.
Yeah. No, I mean, I fully agree with Bitcoin mining being friendly to the environment versus a negative. I really think it's the opposite of what the current narrative is. And that's maybe a good segue. We can talk a little bit about block getting into mining and what the potential there is.
Please, is it ASIC development? Is it as simple as that?
I think it's a bit bigger than that.
Okay.
I mean, so let's sort of break it down. I think one concern in mining today is that there's only a couple big manufacturers of Bitcoin ASICs.
Yeah.
The chips themselves. They're concentrated in the same country, so there's like geographic risk. There's risk that there's only two companies. So in terms of like centralization risks and pressures, that's one area that's alarming. So anyone in the world that comes along and produces their own, designs and produces their own ASIC chips is a good thing, healthy thing for Bitcoin. Just have more competition. So Block has announced that it's doing its own chip, but also Blockstream has
chip.
Its own mining chip. I'll get to other potential things too. But like one thing, and actually most people probably don't know. I mean, most big tech companies are just software companies, but Block from its beginning has always made hardware. I mean, the original company had a little, credit card reader that you plugged into your phone, right? And then obviously, tens of millions of payment terminals have been produced and sold. So the company knows hardware, and the company knows ASICs. For over 6 years, the company has custom designed their own ASICs, and so that go in their payment terminals. So Block Square already has a team of ASIC experts and designers. So this didn't come out of left field.
Hold on, you're going to have to go back a second, because some people will associate the term ASIC as a Bitcoin specific term, specific to Bitcoin miners. But that's clearly not the case.
So it stands for application specific integrated circuit. It's really just if you have like what the kind of computers that are in your phone or your laptop are general CPUs, central processing units, that can handle all kinds of different applications. If you have one particular application that you only care about and you really want to hyper optimize, you can create silicon that only does that, but does it really as efficiently as possible. And that's what ASICs are. For Bitcoin mining, the SHA-256 algorithm, which is part of the protocol for mining, that's what Bitcoin mining ASICs are. But ASICs is a general term.
That makes it more interesting, because I hadn't made the link between the Square terminals and the ability, or the team and the understanding and the background to be able to make the chips.
Yeah, so this wasn't just like, it's not just because Jack likes Bitcoin, we're going to do it. We actually have experts at the company who have a long track record creating ASIC chips, and all, relationships with foundries, and just knowing how to build hardware. So part of this is creating chips, but it's not just Block. Like Blockstream announced a chip.
Didn't they buy a company?
I think they bought. I
can't remember.
It's an Israeli company. Spoon Doolies or something like that.
Spun Duty.
Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce it. And then it's reported that Intel is creating a mining chip as well. So all of this is good news. Like, the more companies producing chips, the better. Now, the vision for the block mining effort, not just to build chips, but actually create an open ecosystem for mining. And I think this is actually the big idea, because the existing chip makers, they don't even sell their chip. They put their chip in their own mining rig designs, and then they sell the mining rigs. That's very limiting, because there's I've spoken to many companies in the mining space who know their customers really well. They have certain application ideas of mining rigs, but they can't, and they know how they want to design a mining rig, but they can't do it because there's no supplier of chips. They can only take these off the shelf sort of closed mining rigs. So so Block intends to sell the mining chips directly, and presumably, or I don't know about Intel and Blockstream and others, but hopefully, there's more suppliers of chips that will sell the chips directly, and that's going to help the entire ecosystem out and provide data sheets, which really provides the information that describes the chip. A current problem in the space, there's a company called Brains who works on really smart firmware to make the mining rigs higher performance. They have to reverse engineer the chips from Bitmain and other manufacturers because there's no open data sheet. So they're constantly trying to figure out how those chips work when they change because it breaks their firmware. It's not the makings of a really growing ecosystem. That's the makings of just one or two companies sort of owning the space. So I think by having an open ecosystem where you sell the chips, you have open data sheets, any kind of mining rig designed to have all the other components that go into a mining rig, if those are open and shared, I think that's going to foster, hopefully this isn't just a great business for Block, but it produces dozens or hundreds of other startups and other companies that can flourish.
Fascinating. So my assumption was that you guys would be producing the entire unit similar to Bitmain. I'd be buying the block A6 or whatever, and I would plug that in and start mining, but that would take us from 2 to 3.
Yeah,
whereas this takes us 2 to potentially hundreds.
There's also interest from Block to produce mining rigs themselves.
Fine, but if you're selling the chips,
in addition, so I'd say success is not Block producing a mining rig and only doing that and selling it well.
Yeah,
the success would be not only Block doing that, but dozens or hundreds of other companies as well.
Yeah, that would massively increase the decentralization of mining rigs.
Absolutely, there'd be more suppliers. There'd be more choice. There'd be more
competition.
There'd be more types of mining. And the most extreme version, which we should talk about, is home mining.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
That's the dream.
But right? That's the goal, right?
That's the long-term dream. And I'm completely convinced it is going to happen over on an 8+ year time frame.